Benfica Podcast is one of the founding members of Benfica Independent. Benfica Independent is an independent platform made by fans for fans. And in it, you can find our podcast, along with many other podcasts, along with articles of opinion, video segments, and much, much more. We're also on patreon.com/Benfica Independent with exclusive contents for our patrons.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo. Sí, es un club que tiene una grandeza que no se comprende si no estás aquí dentro.
São de uma magia única, benfiquista, que só nós sentimos assim. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. E o valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero o manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estado e assustados, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Law Benfica podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaças.
Talking about the thing, one of the things we love most. Come on, bro. Get excited for it.
Yeah. Dave's with us also. What's happening, Dave? How you been?
What's going on, guys? Happy New Year's to you guys and the Freddies.
That's right.
2023 hopefully brings good positive vibes for our Benfica and positive vibes here on the Benfica podcast. So looking forward to another year with you guys.
Not too many Freddies have arrived in the chat yet, but welcome to all the Freddies.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hopefully your holidays were phenomenal. Unfortunately, the first Friday, last Friday of the year, I should say, wasn't as phenomenal as we all wished it would have been. But
it's the
nonetheless,
way you want to send off the year, right?
Yeah.
You know, don't people at New Year's, they throw out, there's a custom in Portugal, they throw out plates on the streets to break plates and stuff like that. Well, that's what we needed. We went to the Pedreira and we just broke shit.
No, they broke our shit.
Yeah, that's right.
It was.
But here we are, safe and sound. Thank you for joining us and for all your support in 2022. And here we are for another voyage, another trip in this 2023. Hopefully it's one that we have a trophy halfway through the year. Hopefully. I'm hoping. We're still in first, as Cristiano mentioned, despite having our first loss of the season, 28 games.
Hey, man, if you're going to do it, it was last year. Throw it out the window, baby, because we're going to be undefeated this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Set up a perder, one pasado este ano, clean slate. Keep moving on, and yo.
I'll use the line that Pedji uses. It's 2020. I asked because Pedji's in Australia.
Yeah, that guy's always ahead of us.
So I asked.
He's kind of like Luis Oliveira. 10 anos à frente, Pedji anda sempre à frente da gente. É, igual assim.
So I asked Pedji, how's 2023 looking so far? And he said, so far, Benfica is still undefeated this year. And he's right.
So far, they haven't played,
but we're undefeated.
I don't think we wanted them to. Based on the way they played on Friday, I don't think any of us wanted them to play anytime soon. So, I mean, they do play this coming Friday. But before we get into that, we obviously have a lot to break down.
Yeah. No, we just we're doing a little bit of a dance here in Shishorish to get the Freddies in before we get going to the.
I mean, if you want to Shishorish, then ask Dave. Dave, how do you Canadians celebrate New Year's? I mean, what do you guys do?
Lots of poutine and champagne.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe the most Canadian answer I can give to you guys is not how we celebrate New Year's Eve, but on New Year's Day we do the polar bear dip, which is going into the lake for a swim on
and you do that
New Year's Day.
You partake?
I have not. I didn't do that this year. I have done it in the past, but I did not do it this year.
For the guys on that follow us for a long time, obviously that follow Nuno Gomes and his brother Thiago and everybody on social media, you'll see every year, I've noticed that every year, the first the first of the year or whatever, they go, him and his family, they all go and take a dip into the Praia de Carcavelos. They take a dip into the water, bro.
Yeah.
They do that every year, and I see Tiago post it all the time. So that's cool. So the Canadians have the polar bear. Is it butt naked or like you go dressed? How does
No,
that work?
it's not. You don't have to go butt naked. Some people go in costumes. Some people dress up as Santa Claus and do the whole gear. But that's just more clothes you have to
So why haven't
take off
you?
at the end of it.
Why haven't you ever taken part in that, Dave?
I have. I didn't do it this year.
Oh, you have.
You have.
Yeah, but not this year.
And
Oh, every bone in your body is clenched tight, and you're walking a little funny for a couple of minutes afterwards.
It takes
but
you about
it's refreshing.
Yeah, and it takes you about three hours to find your bolinhos.
no, I'll tell you. You know what I've done?
Yeah.
I've obviously I've never jumped in anything as cold like that. Is that right ever? But I've done that. You know when you go to like a chiropractor and they got the machine, the freeze, whatever it's called. I
Oh,
forget.
biofreeze.
Is it biofreeze? Is that what it's called? They give you gloves and
Oh yeah.
I'm in underwear and they give me gloves.
Cryogenic.
Cryo.
Yeah,
Cryo.
that's it.
And I
that's it.
tell you, man,
You're up to your neck.
you're
they
supposed
give
to
you
go.
gloves and
Well, it
socks
depends
for
how tall you are.
extremities.
See, I'm a short guy. Tall guy might be up to the neck. You know, me's right above the cabeza. But but the long story short, though, it's like I guess 2 to 3 minutes. If I recall, because this was years ago, and like after
I
a
think it's
minute.
the most they'll allow you. I think is
After
around
minute
that time.
20, bro, I'm ready to get out of there. I'm like, yo, it's crazy. And one day I went in there without gloves. I tell you, your fingers, the tip, it's rough, Dave. So congrats to you and all the Canadianos, man. You guys are nuts, but
Yeah.
congrats,
Yeah,
man. That's what's up.
Só custa entrar.
So
E sair bocadinho. Then you know, hopefully you have somebody waiting for you with a manta. Put that shit over you.
Oh, yeah.
And warm up real quick.
what about that piece of foil that they put on? That shit
That
actually
shit
works.
don't work.
That's good to wrap
No,
turkeys and
that's for
Thanksgiving.
the astronauts.
Yeah, that's more. I don't know if it's for the cold or it's for the heat.
Well, I don't know what
I
that
guess
is.
it could be for both.
They
I
give it
guess.
to right if you're burning, you coming out of water, you're cold, you need heat.
I've also seen them giving it to marathon runners.
Yeah.
After they finish.
Because it's cold.
Could be.
They be running those marathons
I know,
in
they're
like
warm,
December.
and then all of a sudden their
Yeah, yeah,
body loses temperature quick. But anyway,
Anyways, yeah,
here we are.
we're not here to talk
Ricardo
about marriage.
Teixeira, Red Baron, up in the chat. Evening, gents. Ricardo, yes, we will get into that. Here's what's on the menu for tonight. We'll recap that Braga game that happened this past Friday. We will talk about this whole Enzo saga. Look ahead to Portimonense and also look at January's schedule. What's on tap for January? We say that every month is important. Every game is important for Benfica, but certainly with the Varzim for the Portuguese Cup and Sporting in January, and also fighting all kinds of rumors in the papers about people going out in and out. It's always a trying time.
It always is, but
for
this
Benfica
year in
fans.
particular, it's a little bit different than normal.
Why
The
is
game-
it different,
'cause
Cristiano?
The games are super important, and then the nonsense. Benfica had gotten to this point with very, very minimal controversy all year, or ruckus, right? I mean, the biggest thing in Benfica world, right? The biggest uproar in Benfica world was Domingos Soares Oliveira, whatever. He was put in the second row. That was the biggest controversy that they had to answer.
When things were going well,
Yeah,
right?
my man he didn't get to sit front row. You had to sit second row, so that had to make the news. And now you're finally facing some turmoil. There is some adversity here. I've heard different stories from people inside the locker room. I've had conversations. Then I've had conversations with other people that said a lot of that is just newspaper talk. So I don't know what to believe. But yeah, they've definitely had to handle this situation with Enzo Fernandez with kid gloves. Obviously,
Yeah, we'll get
yeah.
into that.
So you asked. Oh, David, this guy asked.
No, but I'm saying, how is January different for you? And you're getting right into the meat and potatoes of the podcast.
This January is different. It's different. Every year you have these tough games on the turn of the clock, right? It seems like January because of Taça da Liga and all that stuff. But this year you get the extra fat. You get the extra layer of fat, which is the Enzo Fernandez situation. You know, you get that extra layer.
You get the
So-
turkey with the trimmings.
Yes.
That's what Cristiano's trying to
But
say.
we'll get into that. But before we get into that, I just want to say once again, what's up to all the Freddies? I wanted to give a shout out to our boys on Rome Street. They know
That's
very
right.
well they are. We went to watch the game with them on Friday. Even unfortunately, I don't think I'll ever be back after that result. Thank you very much for having me. I'll repay you the beer, but no, jokes aside, man, it was very cool to watch the game with those guys and
Yeah,
diehard Benfiquistas.
we kept thinking maybe this was just bad luck, and they probably were thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
These
they're probably
effing
thinking
guys.
they're not gonna have us back.
Yeah, we can't have these guys back. They give us bad luck, man.
Yeah.
Bad
We
juju.
blame them, they blame us.
Yeah, so let's get into this Braga game. I'll give you the lineup and we'll get going. Vlaco Dimos, Ba, Silva, Otamendi, Grimaldo, Tino and Enzo in the middle. João Mario Arsenis, Rafa behind Ramos. So let's ask the question: Were you surprised at all that both Argentinians, after a bunch of days of partying, just arriving in Portugal that week, that they were both selected to start?
Was I surprised? Yes and no. And I think it's a lot easier, Dave. I think it's a lot easier for us to sit here today and say, yeah, I'm surprised after all the crap you've heard that Enzo didn't feel that he was up to playing at the time. So it's a lot easier to sit and play Monday morning quarterback. But at the same time, look, if the coaching staff thought these guys were 100%, they were going to play them. I have a huge problem if it is indeed the case that Enzo approached Ricosta, Roger Schmidt, and said, look, my mind is not here right now. I've just won the World Cup. I've spent a week and a half doing nothing but partying and drinking. If you could leave me on the sideline, I'd appreciate it. And we'll see how the game goes. But at the same time, I understand Roger Schmidt's position. Imagine Benfica had decided to leave Enzo on the sideline, right? And they still come away with this 3-0 defeat. And then what are you going to say? Yo, how do you leave Enzo on the bench? So there was no real way for that the club was, in particular the coaching staff, was going to come out, looking pretty out of this unless they won the game. But if that is indeed the case, I'm a little shocked. As far as Otamendi, another guy that obviously won the World Cup, was out there celebrating. But that dude, he's shown ever since day one that he's joined Benfica that he's a true professional. He's going to do what it takes. He's the captain of the team. I know Andre Almeida still carries the title, but hopefully not for long. But he's the captain of the team. He's the guy that gets everybody's mindset going in these big matches. He's the leader in the locker room, and I'm really not shocked about him. But the Enzo thing, man, I just there's so much going through my mind when it comes to this whole situation, because like I said, I've spoken to people in the locker room that have confirmed to me that was indeed the case. I've spoken to other people.
He did ask
not
to play?
That he did ask not to play, and not just that he did. It was ugly. Things got ugly for a little while, and the players, everybody's looking around, and that things got really ugly. Between Rui Costa had to intervene, and things got, like I said, just keep it pretty because I can't really share too many details. But it got ugly. And then I also spoke to other players who were like, listen, man, think about it. If a player doesn't want to play, you think somebody's going to force him to play? Think about it. What player doesn't want to play at that stage? Right? It's a big game. He's coming back from the World Cup. And if he didn't want to play, there's nobody's going to force him to play. Because the guy would just go out there and mope around. And that's not what he did. Yes, he did not have the typical Enzo Fernandez game. But at the same time, I don't think he was one of the worst players out there.
Yeah.
Do you?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, Enzo and Otamendi, sure, if you want to have that excuse that they were out partying for a week and a half back in Argentina, that's fine. But was Vlaco Dimos drinking for the last 2 weeks? Was Ba drinking for the last 2 weeks? Silva, like, all these guys didn't show up to play. The whole team didn't show up to play. So you can also flip it around and say Enzo and Otamendi should be coming in at top form, considering they're still playing last week, where a lot of these guys have had a month off of not really that many matches under their belt, right? But the whole team looked like they've been partying for the last 2 weeks, not just Enzo and Otamendi, but the whole Enzo saga. I'm sure we're going to touch upon it, but to just pinpoint those two guys, I don't think is fair when the whole team looked like they were
100%, Dave,
in shambles and out of sorts.
Very well put.
I completely get it. Look, it's an important game. It's a game where you're coming off a long stoppage, and you kind of want to stamp and you want to give continuity to what you had been doing up until this point. Even though coming off a stoppage like this and a break like this where the players were off, there was no competitive rhythm, is always going to be tricky. And I understand Roger Schmidt saying, this is the best 11 I could field. And regardless, a guy says, eu tenho uma unha encravada and I can't play, or whatever Enzo's situation was, what it was mentally or physically, I don't know. You're a servant. You're an employee of the club. We're paying you to play.
But you have to, Alfredo, you have to read the room.
No, I understand, but it's like
what you guys are all saying, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone could say you guys are wrong, right? They get paid by the club, not by the national team. They're there to be professionals, yada, yada, yada. I totally, 100%. But you have to read the room. You have to understand. You have to realize these guys have just won a World Cup. The Putu comes off of the best young player in the World Cup. Aside from Messi, who everyone was jerking off, and Martinez, the goalkeeper, for saving all the penalties, Enzo was probably number 3 in line in terms of,
importance.
And so the dude was in cloud 9, drinking, celebrating. He comes back at the last minute when he has to come back. It's not like he came back early. He came back when he had to come back. When the club told him. And my man's mind is still, just like I said, he's been partying, drinking. His mind's still not into a game. Now, I think a lot of these decisions were made. You guys are saying that Benfica hadn't played in a while. No, Benfica played a game a week earlier, which is shit the bed, which they should have won that game to continue and survive in the Taça da Liga, Taça da Cerveja, which they didn't. And I think a lot of the decisions by fielding your strongest 11, obviously you're facing a tough opponent on the road, and then you're going off a game that 6 days earlier, 5 days earlier, whatever it was, the team wasn't at its best. So let me insert my best guys on the field because this is what I need for these 3 very important points. And I think it was a mixture of all those decisions. But again, to sit here and just point the finger at Enzo, I totally understand.
You
but at the end of the day,
there's a lot of guys that you can.
But at the end of the day, you have to, read the room. The guys, you can't tell me the guy was in a mindset to play that game.
Yeah. No, look, I completely get it. I get it. It's important. But my thing is that it's an important game and you field your strongest 11. But I do understand. But here's the thing, man, and this is going to come up again when we start discussing this whole Enzo saga.
Let's talk about the game and then we'll talk about Enzo because the game will be quick because there's nothing to talk about.
Let's do that, right? Much better Braga than Benfica. Scored an early goal.
Early? You call that early?
2 minutes.
No, it was like 1:05.
Well, it was in the second minute.
I hadn't even popped open my first Corona. Yeah, it was that.
Well, that's because we didn't have a bottle opener. We had the lighter.
Between the early goal and watching this game on RTP Internacional and having this commentator every 2 seconds, o David Ortiz da Angola, abraço, beijinhos, Instagram, follow. Hey, bro, every 2 minutes.
Awful.
The game's going on and he's talking about João Antonio from Suiza. Grande abraço, Instagram. Oh my God,
He's awful.
Maybe they can give us a shout out.
He was the whole time he was plugging in his Instagram and it was inviting people to interact with him. Dude, just commentate the game.
I think it was RTP's. I don't think it was
could be, but just commentate the game. He was bad too. He was bad. But anyway, the game got ugly fast. And look, you look at this game and Benfica didn't really create anything in the first half. But you can't help but to think that if they don't allow that early goal, maybe the game goes in a different way. Maybe they start getting a little bit more consistent, comfortable, confident. But instead, it was Braga that grew in confidence as the half went on, and they would have eventually put in the second and go into the locker room up 2-0 on Benfica. And you look at the score. It could have been more. You look at the score, but you said it's deserved. Benfica didn't really do much. And Braga scored 2 goals that they created and they were able to put away.
Benfica, this whole game made Ruiz and the Horta brothers look like Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar. I mean, they toyed with our defense. They did exactly what they wanted at all times. They created havoc. They created opportunity after opportunity. And we just sat there, ball watched. Even in that second goal, the third goal, I know you're going to get to that. You see guys tracking back. The goalkeeper kicks the ball long. Horta traps it, wins a 50-50 ball, whatever. And one of our midfielders, João Mário, is just sitting there watching. Rather than keeping the run going, No, I guess he thought he got confident. I guess he thought. I think was it no, it was Ba, right? I think it was Ba.
Yeah, it was Ba.
He thought that Ba was
On the
going to win
second
it,
goal,
and
yeah.
he stopped his run. Therefore, he just left. Who I forget who was in the middle that tapped it in. I think it was
Horta.
Horta to Horta.
Yep.
No, Horta won the ball, and then he played it to the middle. I forget who scored the
No, it
third
was
goal. I closed my eyes.
Horta
after
scored the second goal.
that. Yeah, I'm talking about the
He didn't
third
score
goal.
The third goal.
Not Ruiz scored the first. No.
Ruiz.
And
No,
Horta scored the
scored
second and the third.
Yeah.
Oh, he scored the second and the third.
Yeah.
So how do you win that ball on the left and then score? I don't.
You I think it was Ruiz that won that ball, and then there were two on one.
Then I'm making
it
a
was
mistake.
an easy one.
Then I'm making a mistake. Then I'm.
It
It
was an
goes-
easy one. But look,
Bro, normally I go back and watch these games, but
for what?
I didn't watch no highlights.
Chris is right. Horta does win the ball. Horta starts off that
Yeah,
transition.
he wins the ball. The goalkeeper goes long.
Passes it off.
Passes it
Ruiz
off, and then he
passes it back.
goes and yeah,
yeah.
Okay,
that's
okay.
exactly what happened.
Okay.
But yeah, look, there's nothing to it. It's just a better Braga, and mind you, this is a Braga that has just lost 5-1 to Sporting. But look, confident, playing at home, did their homework. Benfica didn't show up for the game. Braga wanted the game more. And look, Braga also knew that if they had lost this game, they're kind of away from that top group. With them winning the game, they get 3 points to stay with the top group, and they kind of they make their mark.
Benfica, once again, created very little. There is no creativity up top. You have Rafa going at 150 miles per hour, and as you guys know, when you're doing everything as quick as you can, sometimes you don't do it as well as you can. It's one thing I've hammered on here on the podcast since July, or August, whatever it was, that I started bitching about it, that there was not enough depth on this team. And now in the game like this, where Benfica needed to make changes, where guys seemed like they're all still on their World Cup break, and Benfica has to go to the bench and refresh the squad in order to create some opportunities and start getting the ball rolling and get some possession in the offensive third in order to alleviate some of that pressure on our defense, who was horrific, and our goalkeeper, I don't know what the hell he was thinking about, but there was none. There was none. We severely lacked David Neres once again. He's the only guy on the squad that we have that takes on players one-on-one, is able to beat them and create. We hope that now with this Enzo Fernandez saga, and I've been saying this, I told you, Alfredo, plenty of times, sell, pack it in, let's go buy 2-3 players, reinforce this squad to make this late run here in the season. But at the end of the day, man, it's scary. Gonçalo Ramos, and I'm not trying to single guys out because strikers can't do much without service, but these guys didn't exist this whole game.
Yeah, and
It was terrible.
I have a hard time accepting when Benfica puts in a second forward. I don't think that Benfica has polished that system well enough. It just seems rushed when they play with two forwards.
Well, it doesn't help when
Very
you have a guy
rare.
cinder block going up top with cinder block feet.
The black feet.
Come on, bro. It doesn't help.
Peste parece uns tijolos.
When Musa came in, he looked like a third central defender for Braga.
Yeah, it's and look, we don't want to beat a dead horse, but you look at the bench and you say, well, all right, who could come in to make a difference? Absolutely no one. No faith in anybody.
No, the only guy we have, unfortunately, had to start this game because Neres was injured, and that's Auschnitz. I still can't pronounce.
Yeah, but even when Auschnitz came to the middle, much better after he came in the middle.
I don't know why he
when
plays on the
Florentino went
outside. I
out.
still don't understand why he plays on the outside.
Yeah, I mean,
And if you guys go back, you guys on all the Freddies in the chat, I touched on it last week. I didn't understand why you're playing Chiquinho in the middle, him on the outside. When he comes into the middle, he's a much better player. And now you see it again. Florentino had a nightmare. My man had a nightmare. Now, look, it's one game, guys. Dave, it's one game. If we had to lose, let it be less. I don't want to lose this.
Yeah, and if we're gonna lose, let it be against Braga too. I would hate to lose against Passos Ferreira or Vizela de Vida. I don't know, but it simply weren't good enough, and that's what it boils down to. You can't complain about the refereeing. I think that maybe the only thing that I would say is that Gilberto should have come in at halftime for Ba. But I don't know if it makes a difference.
No, but dude, it makes a difference. The attitude. Gilberto might not give you anything going forward, but at least defensively, he's going to give you an effort. Listen.
But I think
Ba's getting to the point,
if any-
Dave. Ba's getting to the point defensively. I might
But
want
I
Andre
think
Almeida in
he's
there, bro.
Schmidt's boy. He's Schmidt's boy, and Schmidt's
got
just going to
pictures,
keep on
Dave?
riding him where he's giving him. He's just letting him go because if we saw at the beginning of the season, Gilberto was getting the early run there while Ba was getting integrated to the squad there, but it's not like Gilberto was making any of these defensive mistakes, but Ba was given the position, and I think it's going to take a lot to go the other way because Schmidt has Ba's or Ba has Schmidt's seal of approval there.
Yeah, but I don't know if it makes a difference. But I think that there's different intensity. There's a different spirit in that right with Gilberto. But where we were struggling was in the final third because we couldn't get anything in final third. We were too predictable. There's no guys that can make a difference. And yes, Neres was sorely missed because he's the one guy that can make a difference.
I don't know. It was muscular, I think. Something to do muscular.
Is he?
What's his injury, Neres?
Is he out for this weekend too? Because I'm pretty sure I saw Rafa's suspended.
Yeah, Rafa's suspended with yellow card accumulation. Yeah, but there's hope.
Next game.
Then Otamendi, I think Otamendi's one away also. If he gets one this weekend, he might. Away. But then there's a cup game in between, right?
There's Vercine, but I don't know if they clean in the cup.
They do. I think they do.
You sure?
Yeah, it's one of the cups. They clean in one of the cup
because the league.
Oh, in the league cup. Okay, so
I
then
think that's how
I know it's one of the cups. I'm not familiar.
Shit's always changing anyway. Somebody in the chat, let us know.
But look, just to finish up on Gilberto, one thing is I have 1,000% certain on this that Gilberto's in that game and they give up that early goal. He's slapping people. He's waking people up. He's not just taking a back seat.
There's definitely a different spirit.
Now, I'm not telling you, Gilberto's this phenomenal player by any stretch of the imagination, but the guy has that raza. He's got that attitude. In a game like this, where Benfica goes on a road, bro, you need that. You need to match the intensity of the opposition.
Chico Marcelino is saying
I was going to get into the comments.
It's gotten to the point that Grimaldo's a better defender than Ba.
But this é feio.
Red Baron, worst game I've seen Tino play in a long time.
I was going to read some of the comments once we...
No,
finish up.
Go read the comments because we're finished the game. Get somebody.
So, real quick, Ricardo Teixeira, Happy New Year. Rapidly forget the horrible Friday match.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Enzo's situation. Red Baron, SLB, good evening, folks. O Piralau desapareceu com frio. He's talking about Dave dipping into the polar bear situation. Nick Valadão, good evening, gentlemen. How are you feeling about Enzo?
You don't have to read those comments. Just read the ones relevant to the topic.
They're okay. They're all relevant. I can't believe that Chelsea are actually meeting the release clause. Hopefully, we reinvest and shore up the depth in the midfield. Happy New Year from Anthony David Maltez has come by again. I guess he's
Chris,
one of the boys.
You're worse than the guy on RTP.
Hey, bro, listen, I'm trying to...
Don't forget to plug your Instagram along the way.
You know how it is. If you don't mention some Freddies, they're going to stop commenting. So I try to make everybody happy. Sheik Marcelino says, another therapy session. I see the Moreirense game gave hints of what was coming. So you want me to just keep no net is no party from Nelson Torbenfa. There's too many comments here to go one by one, but still. Worst game I've seen Tino play in a long time, Red Baron. Reigning Entertainment, I still think Tino is better than Ruben Neves Davida. Sheik Marcelino, the point, Grimaldi, as you mentioned before, definitely the way we are playing, I would have done the Champs first half, Gilberto win. That's from Reigning Entertainment.
Yeah.
Keep the comments coming. I'll read all your comments, but I'm being told by the boss that
No, you don't have to say the hello, fellas, good night, good evening.
Why
you
not?
Don't have to read those.
It's the first podcast of the year. The guys want to say hello to everybody.
No, I just read the ones that are relevant to the conversation. We read them all, but to read them out loud in the podcast, it just adds to the fun. But anyway,
Andiamo.
First loss of the season. We're still 5 points ahead of the second place team. I think we're 9 ahead of Sporting.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, nothing's lost.
Sporting is on fire, bro.
A loss was it's. Let's talk about this, right? I think it's unrealistic to think that a team could go undefeated because those things happen very, 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 very seldom. It's good to have the hope that your team could go, and maybe you start to gather this momentum where it said, the way this team has been playing, the way the performances and how they get results, we could certainly see this team getting to the end of the season with an immaculate losing column. But that's not the case.
But we can still go undefeated.
Into 2023?
No, that's Portugal. Right? I mean, we only got like 3 of them in the last 58 years or whatever it is.
I like the way you think.
Yeah,
But
let's
look,
go
I
undefeated
think
there.
we were bound to lose a game. And like I said, I'd rather lose this game against Braga, and Braga clearly was better than Benfica, and I don't think there's anybody that will say otherwise. But I'd rather lose against Braga than lose against the Vizela and play ugly.
Before we wrap up this Benfica Braga terrible, nightmarish game. Question, and you both have to answer. And the Freddy's in the chat as well if you guys want to answer. But you guys ready to move on from Blacko like I've been ready to move on from him for the last 3 years? Blacko Demos.
I was ready last year.
I don't think there's anybody that disputes the idea that we need another goalie. And to get another goalie, for me, you have to get a goalie that's going to compete with him for the start. Because to give a guy a spot on the bench and he's always going to sit on the... I'd rather have Samu. I'd rather have Kokubu on the bench. The 2 guys that end with the U.
Yoku.
On the bench.
Yokubu or Kokubu?
Kokubu.
I thought it was Yoku.
Yoku.
No, Yokubu used to play at Everton, right? Something like that. Whatever. Go ahead.
No, look, I mean, if you're going to bring in a goalie to sit on the bench, give the young kids a chance to sit on the bench. You got to bring a guy to compete.
But the question is, move on from Vlaco Dimos, which clearly states it's a goalie to start, not a goalie to sit on the bench.
So do you want to sit Vlaco Dimos on the bench and start Samu?
You could get rid of
Start Milk?
No, Milk's gone. Helton Milk, you got to send them
He's
to
still
Brazil.
there.
I know, but you got to send Helton Milk to Brazil.
Pinho. Pine is gone.
No, you got to send them. But now Pinho's gone too.
Pine's
but,
gone.
But no, I'm not ready to move on to Samu. Absolutely not.
No, but I'm saying.
But there's guys that Benfica could go out there and get. There are guys. Yeah, I love Kevin Trapp. Love Kevin Trapp.
There was a rumor
Navas,
about
but there's too much money.
a young Italian goalie.
I don't know nothing about that
But
guy.
to bring a young goalie, man, I don't know. I think that Samu's got talent. I think that the other young kid that plays for the Bees got talent, but he's really, really young. But I don't know. We need somebody to compete. It was
Kevin
just
Trapp.
Horrible. Where's Kevin Trapp playing? In Germany?
Yeah.
Frankfurt, right?
Yeah, Frankfurt. Go get him.
Yeah. He's American, right?
No.
He's English?
German.
But he's American descent?
No. Why? Because his name's Kevin?
His name is Trapp.
But it's with double P.
Oh, I'm sorry. The double P makes all the difference. Dave, some stats so we can move on, brother.
As we alluded to earlier, it was the fastest goal Benfica has conceded this season in the second minute mark there. Third consecutive season that Ricardo Horta has scored against Benfica, so we didn't pay up, and he punishes us twice in this game. And also, as we spoken,
Dave,
first defeat.
Let me interrupt you. No, because yo, for those of you, and Chico, I think Chico's one. I love you, Chico, by the way. Just want to say, but for those of you que mandavam foder a cabeça o verão inteiro, bring Horta, because he's Benfiquista this, Benfica. And I'd always say, what I say to you on the Benfiquista sou eu. That motherfucker celebrated with the pigeon stuff. Yo, agora é para vocês verem, para Benfiquistas são os castão. Os Benfiquistas são os castão. I don't want to hear that again.
Finish off.
And the first defeat in 29 games this season, second best record in team history to open up a season without a loss. The record still stands at 32 games, which was in 1959 60 season.
Yep.
What, 33?
Yeah, there's
32.
There's a lot of
33.
a lot of talk about this Horta.
The record most to start a season without a loss?
Yeah.
33.
Isn't that Sven Goran Eriksson 33?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it?
Is it Sven or Jimmy Hacken?
I thought it was 33.
One of them.
I thought it was this guy.
Yeah, but even Schmidt said that we didn't at the end of the game, and that's why what I appreciate about Schmidt is that he really tells you like it is, and oftentimes he gets mistranslated because I listen to his press conferences all the time, and then when they translate that shit, is always something else. It always gives it a different meaning than what he really meant. But he was very frontal. He said we weren't good. We didn't deserve to win. Simple as that. And it's football. You can't win all the games. Sometimes you're going to lose games too. I appreciate that candor from him. and certainly still good in my book. But I think that he needs to refocus this team for this month of January. But it's kind of hard when everything that is going on is distracting for the team. And there's a lot of talk. There's talk on the papers every day. There's guys on Twitter, podcasts, so on and so forth, talking about this whole Enzo saga. The fact of the matter is that we're not behind doors, and we really don't know what's going on. Do we know if he was authorized to go spend New Year's Eve in Argentina? We don't. We do know that he missed 2 practice sessions on Monday.
When the club specifically said no exceptions, or as Schmidt said, no exceptions, no
This
one's
was
allowed to go
before the
back.
Braga game.
I don't care.
He was asked about it, and he
Yes.
said, "Yeah, the club has rules and regulations."
Nobody's allowed to go away.
Correct.
Everybody's supposed to be here. We have training. They started practicing twice a day because he's obviously not happy with the way the team has been playing. So he wanted the guys to be around because he wanted to get back on the practice field because the team
100%.
needs to be that fine-tuned machine it was prior to the World Cup break. And he bounced. He went home. Then doesn't even show up on time. Misses 2 practices. I mean, the club has to come down hard on him. They absolutely have to fine him. I just don't agree with everything else that everybody's going cuckoo caca on these guys.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, right? So does the lack of communication from the club allow for everybody to run rampant with whatever their theories are? The media, the people on social media,
This has to be handled indoors, bro.
internally.
Internally, behind closed doors. This is not for the media. It's not for us. They don't have to. Rui Costa, the president, doesn't have to come out and tell us, "Oh, I find the play." No, that's closed.
But he would.
But you have to discipline them. You have to let them know aqui quem manda somos nós, and you have to abide by our rules. When you leave, you leave. But until you leave, you follow our house rules.
Let's set the stage, right? So Rui Costa has mentioned that nobody's leaving in the winter unless people hit or club hits their clause. So apparently, at first, who was it? Oh, Liverpool. We talked about this last week that Liverpool had the right of first refusal, but then made a formal offer. Then Chelsea popped in the picture, and apparently Chelsea, according to a lot of the social media that we've been reading, offered 120 million, but
Over
the clause.
close because
With the clause was 100
with the installments.
with the installments is over because then they play for some interest, and then you could get the monthly, the yearly installments or whatever it is, the installment
But-
payments. The 120 is up front.
right. But I think that if Chelsea pays Benfica all that money up front, then I think they're in trouble with the UEFA
Financial
fair play.
fair play, yeah.
Right? So that's what they're trying to do. And I don't know if the impasse is because Benfica wants X amount of money up front and Chelsea is trying to break it up so they could stay within the financial fair play. I don't know what it is. I've also heard that the interest has gone cold too from Chelsea. And
It's set through now it's all
but
ploy.
the thing is
No,
that
it's all
the
ploy, Alfred.
club is being very mum about the whole situation, staying very sound. And I understand if they have rules and regulations, the player has been communicated to. The coach has spoken to the player has spoken to Rui Costa, and all these things are being handled internally. It's business as usual for Benfica. The media and everybody else is what's making a big circus out of this whole situation, and I get that. I can't. You, as an intelligent person, listener, viewer, whatever, I think you have the right to be selective with what you hear, and really make your own conclusions. Don't let yourself be driven by everything that you read in the newspapers and everything that you read in CMTV or watching CMTV or on the radio. Make your own determination based on what you think is logical. And for me, logical is that the situation is being handled internally. Would Benfica do something like coming out to the media and say something? Would that help Benfica? I don't know.
No, they don't have to. All you got,
But you're right.
But,
they don't have
but
to.
you're giving your opinion. You're giving advice to people to follow, to come up with your own conclusion. But at the end of the day, it's very simple. Just follow the facts.
Right.
Facts are Roger Schmidt clearly said in the press conference, players not allowed to go
That's
home.
what we know.
Okay, that's a fact. No, that's not what we know. He said it
We
publicly.
know for sure.
That's what we know for sure. We know for sure that Enzo didn't heed that advice, and what did he do?
Went to Argentina for
Went
New
to
Year's.
Argentina. We know that for a fact. We know for a fact he missed a day of training, 2 practices, right? It's a fact. That's all you need to know. So what does that lead you to believe? It leads me, at least, to believe that the kid is forcing his way out. He is being ill-advised by his agent, but this is part of this. This is how it works in the football world. This is how it is. Listen, you want out, you got to force your way out. He's doing everything he can to make his time at Benfica and the people around him miserable. This is a guy, and I'm not bashing a guy. I don't know him personally, right? None of us here know him personally. If you know him personally, then you're more than willing to, you're more than free to talk. But we can't forget that when he came to Benfica, when he was leaving Buenos Aires to go to Madrid and then connect flight to Lisbon, he said, this is a trampoline for me. Again, follow the facts. This is not made up by Sam TV. This is not made up by journal. This is just facts. The guy didn't think you were a priority. He wanted to continue playing and representing River Plate to possibly win the Libertadores. Again, putting you off as secondary. Then he only came because he was eliminated. And then as on his way, he says, this is a trampoline. And now all of a sudden you're expecting a guy to show his love and cry for the club when a monster deal pops up in front of him? Come on, bro.
No, I don't think that I don't expect him to show his love, but I expect him to be professional.
Yeah, but how can you continue to be professional and get your wish, which is to move at the end of the day? It's not gonna work. Benfica, he's trying to again. His agent, he's forcing his way out.
I understand that he's forcing his way out. The picture from his agent is not innocent.
No, they know very well what they're
nobody
doing.
needed to take a picture of him celebrating New Year's and post it on social media.
No,
unless it was intended to.
I was
to be
okay
posted.
with the picture of him, his wife, and his daughter. Leave it at that. Everything else was extras.
When you get all
Everything else was
the rest of
intentional.
the family.
Yeah, because like I said to somebody, if I looking at that one picture where it's him, his wife, and his daughter, do you know he's not in Cascais? Do you know he's not in Mortosa? Do you know he's not in Minha? I don't know. I can't. I don't. From that,
Somebody was saying there's sun in the sky and it's definitely not in Portugal because it's been raining for 3 days. All the Sherlocks in the internet.
see, yo, what if he was up north? Was it raining up north or down south? Was it raining in all of Portugal?
Maybe it was in Madeira.
It's
Watching
Portugal,
the
right?
fireworks.
Açores. No, Açores, no, because their draining system. No, I'm just.
Come on. We almost started the year
New
without,
year, leave it alone.
without bringing up the draining.
But that's all I'm saying. Just follow the facts, and those are the facts that are in
Those are
front
the
of us.
facts that we know.
Now, Benfica right now is look. The sad part is that this is going to drag out. Benfica wants as much money up front as possible. They have their reasons for not wanting to pay all that money up front. So it's kind of like playing poker. First one to blink loses. So this is going to drag out a little bit. If I'm Benfica, I get as much money as I can up front and throw me Ziyech and pay me a salary for the next 3 years, and he could leave. He could leave tomorrow. Give me Ziyech, baby. Give me another winger.
Do you think that there's a deal like that in place where there's players involved? Because
No.
Because you remember when we sent David Luiz to Chelsea, we got Matic.
Yeah, but that was $30 million. That wasn't no clauses. That was just
Right.
And that was one of the best deals Benfica ever made.
To facilitate the payment, maybe they throw in a guy on loan and
No, because Alfredo, no, right? Como é que é? It's not that, Alfredo. No way. No, because you have to remember, Rui again, based on what we've seen in the public eye, right? Rui Costa has clearly stated that nobody's leaving if you're not meeting the clause. If he does that, Rui Costa is going back on his word. He can't. The only way, bro, he has to come out of this with as close to the clause up front, whatever. It has to trigger that 120. They offered extra because they want leeway. We talked about on the last podcast about the 120. Like, why would I offer 130 if 120 is enough to trigger? Why would you offer 120, 130? But the reason is because they want to pay in installments.
right.
So
And
it's
I
like,
think
listen,
that's
I'm going to
where
give you a little bit of.
the impasse
Now,
is
if
at.
you want to tell me they're going to throw 120 in players, fine, but I don't think it goes below that 120.
No, I think that maybe they throw in a player to facilitate the installment, to make the installments.
Yes, but it's
part of it.
120. It's 120
It's
plus.
good. Yeah, it's
Yes.
120, but Benfica wants that money up front.
But the problem is Chelsea's players. What players they got that are worth like 5-6 mil?
They're in eighth place.
It's okay. I'll take Ziyech. Put sleeping errors on one wing, Ziyech on another. Bro, we're good.
Yeah. Does Ziyech play?
Does he play
Yeah.
at
Does he
Chelsea?
play for Chelsea.
He plays. He's on the team. Doesn't play a lot, but he's on the team. Yeah, he played against Portugal in the World Cup, unfortunately.
All right, so let's like Cristiano said, we know what the facts are. So maybe the conclusions you should be making is that yes, he is forcing his way out. Everything else that's being said on the media, I don't think it's correct. I mean, there's Abola was saying that Enzo spoke to Roger Schmidt and they had a disagreement. I don't know. It's just there's so much noise around this whole thing. That I'm trying to stay away from it as much as possible and make my own.
You have to remember, his agent's going to be passing a lot of this information to guys in the
to
media
papers, correct.
to destabilize things. So
Right.
just because it's out doesn't mean it's fake, but not all of it. It doesn't mean that all of it is also true.
So let's
Wait. Chris
Dave.
said that like we're playing poker here, and we're waiting for this.
We're playing a
first
game of
hand
chicken.
or
I don't
first
know about-
first guy to make their move. And I know Rui Costa came out and said what he said, that no players leaving unless their clause is released. But how, with us dragging this on, let's say right up until the 31st, how much of a disadvantage does that
The
put
second.
Benfica? Let's say at that point, the clause is triggered. Enzo's gone. We get the million, but where do we have enough time to get the reinforcements with that money? Now, how much has that destabilized the locker room? How many points have we lost? Like at this point, I know what Rui Costa has said, and his intentions were right. But if this becomes too much of a fiasco that it starts affecting the team's on-field performance, just cut loose with the guy and get your money and start building up your reinforcements while you still have the time.
I'd like to think that Benfica has been working on or has identified a couple guys to take play to come in for Enzo. Guys that
They're
are going to
promoting my neighbor Gil Diaz.
No, peraí. Benfica, I think that from the way that Benfica's operated this season, especially in the off season, I'm a firm believer that they're actively getting targets to replace him. Not that I don't think that Auschwitz would do a good job. As a matter of fact, he's being groomed to be in that spot. He might not be the influential player that Enzo is, but if tomorrow Enzo leaves and it's Auschwitz and Tino, I'm happy. I'm happy with that duo. But that leaves that midfield a little bit too thin. And I don't think that we want to go with Chiquinho as an option. But I would like to think that Benfica is actively working on replacing Enzo, especially when you see the success that he's had in the World Cup at the world stage. And in the beginning of the season, there was already a lot of teams sniffing around. Benfica had to know that Enzo's not going to make it past this season. They had to know. Regardless of whether these offers are coming in now or not, Benfica had to know that he was at the end of the season, he's gone, and should have been actively looking for targets that are going to replace him, right? They might now have to put it on a fast track to get another guy because he's maybe leaving this January window.
I heard they got their eyes on an expensive target, Danilo from Palmeiras.
Well, there was a kid from Village also that Manchester City apparently is.
But Danilo is a guy that they're really interested. But the problem is the rest of Europe is interested, and he's about 25 mil.
Right. I think that the Enzo finds come once in a lifetime. Not once in a lifetime.
If you hire me as a scout.
But once in, it's not every year that you find a guy of Enzo's talent and potential for the money, and you're able to beat everyone else to the punch. And somebody was sleeping for sure. Either that or Rui Pedro Braz did a wonderful job. But let me.
Nelson Turbenfa says,
go ahead.
I'm going to read a couple comments. Nelson Turbenfa says, Enzo used Benfica to go to the World Cup, raise his stock. Brian Peters, I need to know what was said between Enzo and Rui. Enzo devia ter levado algo a mal. Benfica, because to be forcing his way out after 4 months is crazy. Listen, dude, the fact is that this phenomenal
a lot
offer,
of money, bro.
the guy's going to get paid 4 times more. He's making at Benfica. He's playing in the EPL.
It's a lot of bread.
Again, he told us all, as I mentioned before, Benfica's a trampoline, so he got
It's
his
a lot
wish.
of bread, man.
Exactly, he got his wish. Reigning Entertainment, he wants to be a prick when a huge offer comes, but Benfica hold the cards. If Benfica wanted, we could just keep him on the bench, keep him and bench him for that attitude. The problem is Benfica would rather cash in. Bro, it's not a problem, Reigning. It's not a problem. It's that a club like Benfica, a club in the Portuguese league, doesn't have the luxury of burning a 120 million euro ticket. Real Madrid might, but Benfica can't. And Benfica can't send this guy to the B team and punish him because there's no guarantee that this offer is there in 6 months. They have to cash in now. And the thing is that we all should be looking at the next few weeks is what Benfica does with this money, because a club that's prepared to handle these situations, because we all know at the end of the day it hurts and it's painful to say it, guys, but we have to admit it. Portugal and Benfica is a feeder club. We're no longer the club that comes, that gets players. We feed the big leagues. And so I don't think anyone should be shocked that Enzo was leaving. I think the shock is that he's leaving now or after 5-6 months and then 120 mil. I think that's the shock, that somebody actually would come in and trigger that clause. So you can't just devalue a player and throw him to the wayside and then just lose that opportunity, because 120 million euros for Benfica is a lot of cake. So I don't think you just discard the guy.
So here's the question, because we've touched up a little bit on this in terms of how does it affect the team? How does it affect the locker room? What's the vibe in the locker room? But you also now have public opinion that's been turned against Enzo, right? Do you start him?
He doesn't play. I don't think you can't put him in the field on Friday.
Do you start him against Portimonense?
You can't put him on the field.
Right.
The crowd's going to turn on him.
And that's exactly it.
At any point.
And
start him off the bench.
And the crowd turning against them, does this now affect the rest of the team also? Because, the rest of the team can't be deaf to the fact that one of their own, and we all know that locker rooms are close-knit groups, one of their own is being booed off the stadium. So what do you do? Do you sit the guy until this kind of goes away and it reaches somewhat of a consistent point where the club could come out and make some kind of an announcement and kind of settle all the rumors and all the theories that are going on behind this? Is that what you do? Because if I'm the coach, I'm not starting him against Portimonense because I need to protect this team.
You have to.
I don't care about Enzo, to be honest, because if he wants to leave, why am I protecting Enzo? But I need to protect the team. I need to protect the harmony of the team. I need to keep the fans with the team, not against the team.
Absolutely. Alfredo, I couldn't agree more. Dave, you?
Do you start him, Dave?
We already said we're going to be out Rafa, potentially out Neres, depending on how this injury is going. Who else do we have? Like this all ends up again with the lack of depth that we have. I think we might have to just start him out of necessity.
João Neves, bro.
Yeah, you like João Neves?
He looks. I haven't seen much of him, but he's got a nice touch. He's a little kid though. Very small frame.
Yeah, and the thing is that he tucks his shirt.
Yeah, I don't.
His shorts. It makes him look even shorter.
And then his shorts are like down past his knees. Like, yo, dude, roll up them shorts, untuck your shirt, roll down your socks.
Pants.
Yeah, I need to give him some style. But yeah, I mean, Dave, you make a great point. I mean, it's going to be a very complicated situation. I don't think he plays Friday. You can't play him on Friday.
You can't play him, man.
You can't play him on Friday. You can't have the fans turn on him. You can't have the locker room sour. At the end of the day, you need positive energy. Benfica just came off a very bad loss. We need to get on the right track ASAP.
Public opinion.
You can't have the players. You can't have the fans booing one of their own, and have the players need to feel that love and warmth. You know that old saying, "Eu sou benfiquista, mas muito mais em derrotas," something like that. right? I'm a
Yeah.
bigger Benfica. Like, be a Benfica. I think what's his name? Salvio commented on somebody's post, somebody's ragging on Benfica losing 3-0. And he said, para ser benfiquista, mas ainda principalmente muito mais que na derrota. Something like that. But Sheik Marcelino and these guys on the chat will know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, like, you need to support this team after that loss. And again, this loss to me was at the worst possible time because of the whole uncertainty with Enzo. And that could it could throw off a locker room. Because before all these guys went on their little holiday, because their World Cup break, I'm pretty sure one by one the coaching staff and the preparador físicos and everybody told these guys, look, take care of yourself, take care of your body, don't get silly. We have an opportunity to do something very, very special this year. We're playing the Club Bruges, and then we get through. Hopefully the ball falls, our way again, and before we know, we're in the semifinals of a Champions League. Look at a guy like Otamendi, who's 34. He's a month away from being 35. He's never won the competition. He might not come as close to as he might this year. These guys are all looking at this with anticipation, right? And then all of a sudden, Rui Costa goes in locker. Yeah, we sold one of your best players. Like, what message does that send?
No,
it's a very delicate situation.
It's a delicate situation.
But it's not. It's not that Rui Costa's forcing him out either. It's Enzo that's basically played his cards.
I think
cards
now,
here.
Yeah, Dave. I think now Rui Costa. I think now this whole situation with the attitude. I think Rui Costa gets a pass from the rest of the guys. But prior to this, imagine Rui Costa accepted the first offer, win locker room. Real guys, I sold him for 120.
Yeah, but I also, I agree that Benfica has to handle this situation in a very delicate manner. And by the same token, you can't open a precedent because now every agent is going to say, if you do this, you go to Argentina for New Year's, then they will eventually release you. No, Benfica has to follow what the club's protocols are in terms of these transfers. The demands are the demands, and if the demands are not met, the player doesn't leave. We end up, kind of guarding the player, recuperating the player mentally, because after an ordeal like this, and if the transfer doesn't come true, the player I'm sure he'll be affected mentally. So we kind of have to recuperate the player mentally as a result of this whole fiasco if the player doesn't leave. But by the same token, we can't open precedents for this to happen again with other players. Otherwise, the loonies are running the asylum.
Again, you run the
Which
risk.
they have been for the last 3 to 5 years, right?
He's gone.
But dude, you run the risk. You run the risk of not getting that 120 million payday. That's the thing. And remember, 25% of that goes to River.
You get the 120 no matter what.
No, you don't.
Because now at the end of the
now
season,
we're at the end of this. I don't know. I'm not sure.
You get it at the end
I'm
of the
not
season.
sure because
Benfica's a
if he
champion.
stays now, when he doesn't have the same attitude that he had previously, and he's moping around,
But skill
you're not getting.
skill doesn't go away.
Yeah, but attitude does.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter, bro.
But if
Skill.
And that might turn off teams.
Exactly. That's what I'm
But
saying.
if at the end of the season, well, it should turn off teams the fact that he's forcing his way out after 4 months, because he could do that to whoever he goes to, and if he's not happy, all of a sudden Chelsea's in 8th place. Chelsea can't do anything. They don't make the Champions League for next year. You think Enzo's going to want to play championship ball or EPL or the Carabao Cup instead of Champions League? And that's the thing, man. It's a lot of money for both club and player. I get it. But Benfica has to follow their rules and the protocols.
But you fine him. That's it. You fine him. He doesn't play Friday. You suspend him for the game Friday. That's it. You setting a precedence.
That's it.
What do you want more? You want to hang the guy?
No.
Off the bridge
I
if he
just
takes the
don't
video?
want Benfica to open up their legs and give in.
They're
to
not. Bro, they're
Okay, well,
100. Look,
that's what I hope.
they're 1,000% going to fine him.
Oh, yeah,
I
without
could-
a doubt. He misses 2 practice sessions.
They're going to
That's
fine
in
him.
the employee manual.
I don't think he plays Friday.
I don't think I hope he doesn't play.
And he shouldn't play Friday. Well, because we talked
Is
about
he on the
fans.
bench, or they just
No,
don't
he
even
No,
call him
not
up?
even on the bench.
They should punish him and send a message. While you're here, you do as we tell you.
Right. Let
When
him
you
play
gone,
against Brazil.
Yeah, you don't play. You don't want him to play Friday because of the whole situation we talked about the fans. And then 2, you want to send a message to the rest of the guys and the youngsters in the locker room that aqui quem manda somos nós.
Yeah, let him play against Verzin if he has to come out and play for the Portuguese Cup. Then you got Sporting after that, and you see where he is mentally after that. But I think that you need, like as I mentioned, you need to protect the team this Friday, especially coming off a bad loss where you need to respond and respond quickly on your next game. And I don't think the response includes Enzo, to be honest with you. Too much distractions.
I was reading the comments.
I know that Brian Peters was asking about Moreira. Moreira doesn't want to renew.
Yep, he's got other teams in Europe chasing him. And
He doesn't want to renew. So
pay him more.
So Benfica's whole mindset is, why should we give time to a player who doesn't
want to be
doesn't want to see his future here?
So neither does Enzo, does it? So you ship him out.
But I mean, we're talking about
nobody wants to buy Moreira. That's
I mean, we're talking about different assets to the club. But yeah,
And you got to show what you can bring to the table first before you start asking for your bag of money.
Yeah,
like
but you know, all these young kids, they got the agents talking their shit up. You got people on social media. Oh, you're the best. You're the bomb. In the meantime, you haven't even scratched one of Ronaldo's left testicles in terms of what you've accomplished.
And what it's like
Diego Moreira.
Cher Nadur is in the same category
he's
as
another
him
guy.
too, right?
He's another guy.
Yeah, but
And Netu?
That they're trying their very best to extend, but he's got offers from clubs in the Serie A, Juventus, one of them, and these kids, look, at the end of the day, they want to make money too.
Yeah, they want to make money. Yeah, they want to make money, and if the money's there, hey, why not? I mean, these days there's no such thing as loyalty anymore.
Yeah, money. They're loyal to money.
Even Bernardo Silva, in his latest interview to Record, said, "My contract is up, but if I sign for 4 more years,
yeah, because he wants to try a new
I could
project.
be back at 33.
Yeah, 34.
Oh, F yourself,
34,
man. At 34,
bro. 34.
Come back at 34.
Get out of
Dude, that's not a Benfica.
Oh, so you're on my side?
That's
You're
an
finally
opportunist.
You're finally
but
coming over?
I always had the idea that Bernardo would save a good 2 years of his career to come and play at Benfica. And he can sign for Benfica for 4 years, have 2 good years, and the other 2 years are on a decline. I'm perfectly fine with that. But when he comes out on the interview and he says, the contract is near. If I sign for 4,
no, but he said he wants to try a new project in the summer, and then if he does, he'll sign a 4-year deal. So then he'll come back then. But he's about to be 30 now, so he'll be 34 then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's Barcelona, right? The project.
I don't know. He didn't say.
I don't know, but yeah, Barcelona's been after him for quite some time. But the thing is that, and never mind. We got a little bit sidetracked. But yeah, I mean, every young kid now thinks that they're better off, that the grass is always greener, no pun intended, on the other side. And sometimes it isn't like that. How many players have we seen leave the Seychelles and now they're playing in Kazakhstan or Turkey or whatever? Many. So a lot of it has to do with their agents that get greedy. The agents get greedy. They want more money. They fill up these kids' heads with these illusions of grandeur. And then the kids just get lost. They get lost, but that money that the agent picks up as commission, that never gets lost. That goes in the pocket.
That gets spent.
But anyway, a few more things before we move on to another topic. Rodrigo Pinho went to Curitiba. João Ferreira. Remember João Ferreira?
I remember João Ferreira. He was going to Juventus for my goalie. Perin, my boy Perin, and then they found something wrong with his arm at the airport. It's amazing what those X-ray machines could do at the airport.
Wasn't Ferreira also connected to Barca?
Yeah, they were linked. Yeah, they're linked. So now he's going to Watford. Benfica's going to get about $3 million, I think, something like that.
Yeah, it was 2.5, I think, something like that.
Something like that.
And then Sheldrup.
The kid looks good on video, but everybody looks good on YouTube.
Cough syrup.
Yeah,
Looks good on video, but what?
But everybody looks good on YouTube.
Yeah.
They put the best.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre Almeida come up with the best of Andre.
Look,
Puts up that goal. Remember they tried to cross and went upper 90?
But I mean, he is the best scorer in the Danish league. So.
Epa,
And he's young.
What's the Danish
He's got
league?
tremendous potential.
What's Danish? Denmark?
Denmark.
But I
yeah.
thought Danish was like
How many Danish teams can you name?
Copenhagen.
Who else?
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
I don't know. But
Copenhagen.
Didn't we just play Midtjylland? They're from Denmark, right?
Midtjylland.
Copenhagen is Copenhagen.
That's Copenhagen, bro. But Midtjylland.
You know who's going to the Danish league though? Your boy.
Diogo Gonçalves.
Goncalves.
He's going to where?
He's going to
Copenhagen.
Yeah, Copenhagen. Yeah.
Oh, I know a team. Damn, we put a play. Hey,
Who is it?
I put a player in the first. I forget the name of the team.
Anyway, we got Portimonense.
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
We got
No, I'm
Portimonense.
just looking at the Danish league now.
Go ahead, Dave. Rattle off the top 5 teams in the Danish league.
Please, you know this isn't my forte. Half of there's too many
we like
vowels
it.
in these.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Nordsland,
Yeah.
Viborg,
Yeah.
Copenhagen. There's your top 3.
Helsinger. I know a team. Helsinger. That's what it's called. Helsinger.
Elsinger. Isn't
They
Elsinger
might have
from
got
Helsinki?
relegated. They're no longer showing they're in the first
Dude,
division.
Danish
I
first
believe.
division.
From Finland, bro.
No, Danish first division, bro.
Elsinger.
I know that.
Who's the top 5? So you said 3 already, Dave?
Yeah, you got Silkeborg,
Silkbird.
Odense.
Udinese. That's Italy, bro.
Yeah, you got Rangers, not Rangers, but Rangers.
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 He's Boris Nogra Rosa says Benfica had a Danish player in the 80s.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. O loiro.
Who was it?
Tu sabes.
It was Manish. Isn't Manish?
I thought it was somebody else.
No, Manish is, I think, Manik. Boris Negrosa. Yeah, Manik was from Danish. Cristiano's thinking of Stromberg, but Stromberg
Yes.
is Swedish.
Okay. Yes. That's what I was but it was close. Manish, they're all blondes.
Manish,
Those Nordic countries.
I idolized
I was thinking Stromberg for some
I
reason.
idolized Manish because he played with the blue compression shorts under his shorts.
Yes,
I
yes,
absolutely loved that. That was a great look.
He
Anyway,
loved Manish until he went to Porto. Oh, wrong Manish.
no, that's the original Manish.
I know.
Portimonense Friday, 7 p.m. local, Estadio Luz, Rafa out on yellows. Dave, what's Portimonense up to this season?
They're currently in 8th with 19 points from 6 wins, 1 draw, 7 losses this season. Historically, we've got 37 wins, 9 draws, 2 defeats against them. Recent history since they've been promoted back in 2017, 7 wins, 2 draws, and 2 defeats against Portimonense.
Yeah.
How many Porto players they got on the roster?
Raining. Brøndby is Norway, I think.
Yep.
I might be right. I might be wrong, but I think Brøndby is Norway.
Boris says Airbus is a classic team.
Airbus.
Airbus.
Rangers, bro.
Randers. Grande equipa, pa.
Yeah. So I don't know how many. It's possible that they have quite a few. It's Porto's B team is Portimonense.
Hey, they were cleared of any wrongdoing in the Nakajima. The 8 sales and acquisitions and loans and.
Did you say they were in 8th place, Dave?
Let me see.
Yeah,
They're in 8th place.
8th place.
8th place. So look, I think it's
Stay the lose.
it's.
I'm going to a prediction. I'm ready to go.
Peraí. Let me set the stage and then you can predict. It's a game where Portimonense feels that Benfica is going to need to answer in front of their fans, and maybe they're going to play a little bit with some of the anxiety that Benfica may have wanting to give a good answer. So I think they will defend in the first half, defend with the 2 buses in front, and then look for those spaces to counter like every team has done to us, and see if Benfica has guys that can open up those locks. Cristiano, what do you think, brother?
And by the way, Boris is here educating everybody. Brøndby is in Denmark, which that's what I thought, but I stayed quiet because you guys.
No, you said
I didn't say nothing about Brøndby.
Brøndby is in Denmark.
Is in
Dave,
Denmark,
where's
not Norway.
where's Brøndby in?
No, not Norway. I
Where's
knew.
Brøndby in that table, bro?
No,
They were at they're in 10th. That's why we never got to them.
Yeah, they're
Oh, okay.
big.
We
team,
only went
big
as
team.
far as 5 because
Yeah.
everything below that we can't pronounce or Dave can't pronounce.
But getting back to my prediction, I'm glad. This is why we're teammates.
Go ahead.
Because had I talked
ready to write it.
without me remembering, I would have gone 4-0. But then I remember no Rafa, no Enzo, possibly no Ners. So I'm gonna go 3-1
3-1 for Chris.
Instead of 4.
instead of 4-0.
Go ahead, Dave. What's your prediction?
I think we scrap it out, and it's gonna still be 3 points, but I'm not as confident. 1-0.
I'm gonna say 3-0.
Hey, no, Boris went to see a Prince concert at Brøndby, bro. This guy knows
You went to see a.
Prince.
I saw Prince in concert at the Brøndby Stadium.
Hey, máquina pa.
You're showing your age, Boris.
Why? He could have been a little kid. His dad could have took him
Well,
by
Prince
his hand.
hasn't been around for a good 5-7 years.
So what? So if he's 28.
Yeah, but he was touring maybe 15, 20 years ago.
He's 28, he was 13 then. Quando tu ias à bola, não eras puto. Quando
Era
ias ao
puto,
estádio da
era.
Luz. Então, estás a ver? Yes, yeah, we know where Charlotte Loop is from.
yeah, he's Norwegian.
Yeah, him, Holland. They
Oh,
got
is
nice
he
little teams.
Norwegian or is he Danish?
Norwegian.
He's Norwegian,
Yeah.
like Arshness.
Boris said, ask me, bro.
Boris, how old are you, bro? I'm going to say you're 37.
46.
46.
Yeah. I don't know, 46, and he knows how to use YouTube. That might be a little too old.
Damn, bro, I'm 50. I could use YouTube.
But you do that for work, bro. You're IT.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not IT, but.
Whatever. A gente diz que sim.
Go ahead, Boris. We're waiting. It's a delay.
Remember, they're delayed. They're behind us.
Like 15 seconds.
Dave, who starts?
77. That sounds about right. If you saw Prince live, it had to be 7.
No,
it had to be in his...
did he mean Prince or Beatles? Because 77.
That's the truth. It was probably a double header. Prince opened up for the Beatles.
Prince, Queen, all opening up for the Beatles. Yo,
It's all good, man.
Dave.
It's all good.
Hey, Boris, welcome, bro. If you're 77 for real, God bless you, brother. Como é que se diz? Who starts at right back on Friday?
Ooh.
It's gonna be Bob because he's Schmidt's boy.
Okay. So he says, bah.
I think that, I got to praise Ba's attitude also. He came out in the presser and said we just weren't good. I wasn't good. No, but there's some
shitty seco.
There's some guy. Well, there's some guys that rather criticize the team's performance will blame it on the referee.
He saw Shalana play this board. So did I.
I saw Shalana too.
Yeah.
I saw Shalana.
But I'm not 77.
I saw Shalana. Oh, he's from 77.
Oh.
Shalana came up
Oh,
to
so
Toronto
he's-
too to play with the
he's-
Legends
He's not
team.
77. He's from
He's
1977.
a little bit older than me then. No, top line.
So
Boris,
you're
we're-
45, Boris.
I'm not saying how old.
No,
I am.
46, maybe.
No, 45. Well, maybe. If his birthday is like the last 3 days, he's 46.
He'll be 46 this year.
Yeah, he'll be 46 this year.
Anyway.
This show is turned to the Benfica podcast brought to you by Boris, his age.
But, well, we're sponsored by that. What's that? That company that does the DNA tests.
23andMe.
23andMe.
Yeah, 23andMe. Oh, speaking of age, did you hear about the Nigeria U17 team that got suspended by FIFA because none of the players, all the tests
When?
came back that they were older.
When was that?
It was not too long ago.
I didn't hear that.
And what's that famous Nigerian player that played for Barcelona?
For Barcelona. Wait, you're talking about someone like he's Cameroon.
Eto'o.
He's
Oh,
not.
I'm sorry. Then it's Cameroon, guys. The Fleet. Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
read that right.
I'm like
No,
Barcelona.
and it was a picture of him.
I know,
with
what's
the,
his
with
name?
The news clipping.
Monique. Did not Monique go from Sporting
Eto'o?
to Barcelona?
Eto'o.
Samuel Eto'o.
But Eto'o, it's Cameroonian. Yeah, there was a whole there was an article on the bola that said it had a picture of Eto.
Dave, why you laughing?
Just how off we've been with these African countries. We're just
Well, no, I got
trying
it
to
right.
throw
I
one of them
African,
stick at the end
Scandinavian.
of-
We don't discriminate.
I said right away. Eto's Cameroonian, bro. I hope I'm right.
Eto is from Cameroon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Samuel Eto. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah.
did you read that story? I think that Nick
Started
read
off
that
for
story
Real
too.
Madrid, by the way. So they went to Mallorca to Barcelona. Barcelona, Inter Milan, just so you know. But whatever. That's besides the point. Go, keep going.
Yeah, I saw Chalena play. I saw Luvers Negros play at the old Stadio Luz. Yep.
I saw all those guys play on TV.
Yeah. Same thing.
I never got to go. I never got to go to, unfortunately, I never got to go to.
Anyway,
to the old stadium.
let's start wrapping this up. So January, we have Portimonense. Then we have Varzim on the 10th, which is what, Monday, I think? Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday.
For the Portuguese Cup. And then we have Sporting on Sunday. So that's a week from this Sunday on the 15th. And
1
then,
p.m. local, 1 p.m. for us, 6 p.m. for them.
And
Local
and
time.
then we finish out the month against Santa Clara in Açores.
That's right. I've seen a lot of people tweeting about buying tickets and whatnot.
Yeah.
They love
going?
going also. No, I'm not. I'm not welcome.
There's a
They
picture.
revoke his passport.
Yeah, there's a picture. I was gonna say
I
there's
could go, but there's no guarantees I could get out.
Nah, you get out. You be welcome there, man. You got a lot of important, distinguished Azorean citizens that are your friends here in America. That
But
would
I also
protect
got some.
you got Timo.
I got some that are here in
Timo will
America
help
as
you.
well that they find out I'm there. Skest. They pull in the electricity plug. They pull in the plug.
Yeah, Red Baron, Cameroon. Yeah, yep.
That's what I said.
Yeah, we've been messing up Scandinavian countries and African countries. All of this. You guys, you know that geography is not our forte. Neither is math.
Eu sou melhor nisso. Eu sou melhor nisso.
Benfica 7, Portimonense 2. That's Boris.
Ei, não, meu.
Máquina.
Not when record is coming out saying Chiquinho will replace the suspended Rafa. So
Boris is still chewing on the on the
Chiquinho-
shrooms
on
from that
the-
concert.
on Friday,
On Friday, Chiquinho will replace Rafa. That sounds like a.
Brian, I was at that game, Brian.
That sounds like a. Oh yeah, I was at that game too.
Mikoli, I was at that game.
I was at that game. You know, trivia.
Bye.
Did you know that on that game, and Boris,
Boris, it was Brian.
if you could verify this, then
Bye.
I know
I'll tell
that you were at the game. There was an ex-Benfica player playing for AI Kappa. If you could tell me, then you could definitely verify.
Oh.
You could definitely verify that you were there. Don't digas. Deixa, let Brian say it.
You know.
Brian, who was the ex-Benfica player that played at IEK that day at the Meadowlands on turf? He said that was my first ever Benfica game. That's
It wasn't
no excuse,
turf,
dude.
bro.
It was turf.
It wasn't
It was
turf. It wasn't
It was
turf.
turf.
You thinking about the Marlboro Cups, bro?
No.
2006 wasn't turf.
AEK, I saw Benfica at the
So did I.
Meadowlands.
It wasn't turf.
It was turf.
Oh,
It was
you said
turf.
Katsarunis.
No, it wasn't Katsarunis.
It was Manu, bro.
I'll give you a
It
clue.
was Manu and
It wa-
Carlitos.
it was a Brazilian player.
Bye. But that game was not on turf, though. That's Maluk, man. I was there. I actually went. They had a dinner at Sport Club in Newark.
It was Manduka.
Yeah, I knew. That's what I said. That's what I meant. Sim, but that's I swear to God, Alfred, that's what I meant.
It was
Yes.
Manduka.
But yeah, that game was not on turf, bro. Estás maluco.
Ok, eu vou procurar aqui uma
And they
foto
also-
e vou-te mostrar.
Benfica versus IEK.
I had a picture with my dad facing the stadium, but I can't find it.
Tá aqui.
Your photos.
527.7. Olha ali.
It's turf, bro.
That ain't turf, bro. That's that BS grass.
Alcatifa, man.
That's that. It's not. No, that's not Alcatifa.
That's
Alcatifa is
Alcatifa,
what we used to
bro.
play on the old Giant Stadium.
That's turf, bro.
The Marlboro
Não venhas com essa merda.
The Marlboro
turf,
Cup.
bro.
You remember the Marlboro Cup?
Olha aqui. That's me and my pops.
That could be
It's
grass.
fucking turf,
That's
bro.
grass, bro. But
No, it's not, bro.
They painted over it.
Okay, let me see.
I forgot I played on those fields. Remember?
Bro,
I played after the game.
estás a brincar, man. Olha aqui a camisola do AIK. AIK. Look
sim.
at the fucking turf, bro.
That's not turf, bro. Those are the
It is
football
turf,
lines.
man.
Those are the football lines.
No,
And on the side, Can you listen to me? I'm not saying that's the case. Now I'm messing with you, but now pay attention.
Oh, it could be
jokes aside.
grass. Yeah.
It could be
There is
grass.
video on YouTube.
But on the
Are you guys looking?
But
is that
on
what you
the
guys are
side,
looking at?
sometimes they'd have grass on the field and they'd have turf on the sidelines, because the players stand on there all day and they don't want that they didn't want that to get muddy. I'm serious. I'm not even joking. But I played there. I played when Benfica beat Metro Stars 3-0. Scott Minto, Thomas, all those guys were playing. I played. It was grass, bro, and that was before that. Just so you know. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Did you just show all your pictures to everybody?
No.
Oh.
Just to myself. Okay. Yeah, it's right here. It's a while ago, bro.
It looks like turf because of the shine.
It does
But
look.
that doesn't necessarily, just because it's got the lines, doesn't necessarily mean it's turf. That's all I'm saying.
That's the same game?
Yeah, it's the same game. And here it looks like grass.
5/27/07.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I have when this picture was taken.
Whatever. We're like running away from.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
We gotta, let's wrap up the podcast.
Let's wrap up the podcast. You want to read some more comments?
Well, the Meadowlands is turf now. Yeah, now, and it was before. It was that stupid ass
Now it's that
rug. It
magic
was just
turf.
straight up carpet.
Yeah.
Back in the days. Yeah, nobody. Half
no,
of
it
our
was
listeners
it
don't
was,
even know what we're talking about.
It was Manduka.
Yeah, I remember. I said, what did I say? Dave, what did I say? I said Manduka, right?
No, you said
No,
Manu.
you said
Manu, I meant to say Manduka. That's what I meant to say. Little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah. No, we watched,
I had dinner with
watched
them.
those
I had
games,
dinner
yeah.
with the whole team at Sport Club.
Yeah.
And then they went to sign autographs in front of Ciaras on Lafayette.
Yep. That's one of those games at the end of the season that counts for basically.
Remember when they played
nothing. They
Emelec
just
as
come and
well?
Make
Were
money.
you there for Emelec? The powerful Emelec.
Was it Benfica that played Emelec?
Yeah, of course.
What was the Port?
No, Benfica,
Yeah.
man.
Anyway, guys, we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for joining us and entertaining us in our silliness here.
Yep.
Um,
You guys are the best. Thanks to all the Freddies for
Yep.
checking in. Thanks for all the comments. And
Yep.
we'll be back.
Yep. Boris, take care, buddy. Everybody, all the Freddies, have a good night. Enjoy yourselves. Be good to one another. And work on those New Year's resolutions or something. Somebody was telling me the gym was packed today.
That'll last about 2 weeks.
Take care, everyone. Dave, always a pleasure, my friend.
see you guys.